What's up, y'all? Today we're going to be talking about who's the hard-working man of this county. Oh, good lord, how y'all doing? Welcome back to the video. Today, we're going to be going through each villager class, talking about which is the most useful, which you should use, and which suck. You guys know the drill. If you guys enjoyed this type of video, let me know. Leave a like, subscribe. Let's get into the worst one. When I was doing research for this video, I didn't even know that this villager class even existed. And this is called a Nitwit, and it is a really real thing. Y'all remember back in the day when I ranked every single mob in Minecraft? Well, I forgot to include this guy because I didn't even know he existed. And this guy would probably be dead last. You know your friend who, like, yeah, you deserve to fall in the fire. You know your friend at the party who, like, just bums all the drinks off you or any of that good stuff? That friend is the Nitwit, because what he does is absolutely nothing. He's not an unemployed villager, as I'm not going to include that profession because you can always just change people's profession. So, like, not only can they not trade, but you can't give them a class. They literally just sleep, walk around, and take everybody's everything. They're useless. Get up out of here. Leatherworkers are just straight up bad. Now, okay, obviously it's better than the Nitwit because they can actually do stuff, but Leather just gets outclassed super early, and Leather's not an easy resource to get. For you guys that obviously don't know, all they do is they trade leather for tunics, and tunics for leather, and all that good stuff. It's trash. Leather is not an easy resource to get. Obviously, if you have a cow farm, you're gonna have a surplus, but leather is far more important to use in enchanting books and making bookshelves for everything. So having a villager entirely dedicated to leather is just not very useful. If you are like the hero of the village or whatever, its reward is literally only dropping leather. Leather is very marginally useful in late game, so it's the worst one. Next up, we have the Butcher. Where did he go? Okay, yeah, we have the Butcher. So the Butcher's okay. It's not terrible, but it's definitely not great, which is why it's still in the D tier. The Butcher trades raw food for emeralds. Now, if you have a farm, it is extremely helpful, obviously. But if you don't, unless you find some rabbit hide on the very ground, you're not going to be able to trade this guy hardly all the time. The problem isn't that his trades are just terrible. The problem is just there are ones that outclass it. He is the top of D tier, but he's still a D. I lied. I got D for days. Continuing the D tier, we have the Shepherd. Now, the reason that the Shepherd is not the bottom, and you probably thought the Shepherd was going to be at the very bottom, is because it can sometimes be useful. Look, if you have a sheep farm like I did in my hardcore world, I had like basically thousands of sheep crammed into one little pen. Never call PETA, but basically you can still get emeralds pretty well. Now, normally if I didn't hit all the villagers, it would be 18 white wool for an emerald, which I would have gotten easily with my world. And this is an easy way that I could have villager traded and got really good things with these later villagers that we'll talk about. All right, the Fisherman is of course the first in C tier because the Fisherman's really not bad. The Fisherman can give you cooked food, which can be very helpful. Now, this trade kind of sucks. Generally, if you just give him an emerald, you can take your raw cod and get cooked cod. If you have like an automatic fishing farm or something, that can be very beneficial. But the string up here, 20 string for an emerald, is a great way to... Can you get out of my freaking way? Honestly, it's pretty mid. Like, it's not terrible. It's not great. It's literally just cut down the middle. But let's get into one that's actually pretty decent. Cartographers are pretty freaking decent because they can give maps to woodland mansions and everything else. Now, paper for emerald is never going to be the best trade of all time, unless you have a sugarcane farm, which, because it's a little bit more common to have that than a sheep farm, I personally think that the Cartographer is slightly better. However, it suffers from the same problem that a lot of the past ones have too. It's just kind of outdone by its other competitors, and one of them is right here, but we'll get to that. The next villager we're going to talk about is the Mason. Now, the Mason can be very good. Why? Because you get about like 2 to 5 clay balls when you mine a piece of clay, and if you're anywhere close to the ocean, clay is freaking everywhere, and that is a great way to get emeralds. Like, look, right there is like probably 10 emeralds, and that's a great way to get started in this game. Now, unfortunately, its other trades are not as good. However, having an easy emerald trade is always going to make a villager really good. All right, chat, if you guessed the first one of A tier, you'll get a pinned comment or a hearted comment. Let's see if you got it. If you guessed the Armorsmith, you are correct, or the armor, or whatever it's called. If you don't want to go mining, if you have the combination of a mason, which can give you like 10 emeralds from that small little clay vein, you can get an iron chest plate. Literally, these two are perfect and weigh plenty enough to have an easy normal or easy difficulty survival world starting off. Now, obviously, it's the bottom of A tier because you can literally just go mine some iron, but it does save time and it is kind of nice to have. However, its trades go a little bit further than that. If I traded all the emeralds that it wants, granted, I had to use a bunch to get a bunch of iron chest plates, but as soon as it levels up, well, now it just offers chainmail. What the heck? Because when he levels up to his final level, he has diamond stuff. This is a feather falling and a fire protection unbreaking one. And what we can do is we can literally just break the block and reset his trade. So after we get the pants and we get the boots, we can get a chest plate and a helmet. Granted, those aren't the best enchantments ever. If you literally just get 1 diamond to make an enchanting table, with the books that we talked about earlier, that villager could do a solid full set of diamond armor before you even go mining for the first time. That's incredible. A good offense is a great offense, and that's why the Weaponsmith barely edges out the Armorsmith. The first level of trades, yes, it's for 25 emeralds, but gives you a fire aspect 1 unbreaking 3 iron sword. That is great for the start of the game. But when he levels up just once this time, rather than max level. 41 for a bell, that's terrible. Anyway, once this guy gets to his max level, which unfortunately took a little bit harder of a time, if you have the bell one, don't do that. 40 emeralds for a bell is going to take freaking forever, but he will have crazy enchanted stuff. Now, this one's not great. Diamonds to emeralds is kind of awful, but having a diamond axe with efficiency 3 on breaking 3 is a pretty solid level 30 enchantment. So level 30 enchantments are always going to make a villager a little bit better than the other ones. So that one is pretty solid, but you can get better things than just that. This guy kind of sucks. He's kind of shady. I don't like him. Can I just say this is my least favorite video of these that I've ever filmed? These villagers are the most frustrating things ever. Anyway, so number 5 is the Toolsmith. Now the Toolsmith can be extremely beneficial. Just like every other villager, its best trades come later. But once you get it to level 3, you're going to see a substantial improvement in the awful trades that we've seen so far. As you can tell, this iron pickaxe has efficiency 2 on breaking 2. And if we level it just one more time, he'll be able to have the diamond tools similar to the weaponsmith, but he focuses a little bit more on the damaging ones that have the same level 30 enchantment. Personally, I feel like enchanting your tools is kind of a waste, and I kind of like doing that more manually, which is why I put the toolsmith one slot higher. However, I feel like all three of these, the armorsmith, the toolsmith, and the weaponsmith, are kind of all changeable variable. It's fair if you want to say one's better than the other. Capping off the A tier, we have the cleric. Now the cleric is great for one reason. When you level him up, he has a chance to give you ender pearls, and obviously that's just really freaking good. It really helps you win the game. He doesn't really offer anything else that's too terribly crazy, but that's just, I mean, how am I not going to put that up there? People use it all the time for speedrunning. It's really good. All right, starting off the S tier, number 3, we have the farmer. Now the farmer is just really good in my opinion. Building a wheat farm is super easy, and getting free emeralds is always going to be beneficial. However, the farmer can give you the best food in the game, which in my opinion is golden carrots, and getting unlimited golden carrots for pretty easy emeralds are a great thing. Golden carrots have such high saturation, they give pretty good hunger. The farmer is always going to be in a great spot. Now, if I was basing this list entirely just off my opinion, I would put the Fletcher as number 1, but in this video, he has to be number 2. The Fletcher's great because for sticks, he gives you an emerald. Remember how I said earlier you can go down to a water source and find clay? What if you're nowhere close to water? And what if there's no clay in said water? Well, this fixes that. There are about 9 million freaking trees here, and unless you're in a desert village, the Fletcher is going to give you an unlimited source of emeralds with its trade of 32 sticks for one of them. Besides the bell, nothing really costs that many emeralds, so before the guy is worn out for the day, you're still going to get plenty of emeralds that you need to trade other villagers. I consider it like the baseline for every other decent trade that we've talked about so far. But the Fletcher, in everybody else's opinion, is nothing compared to the most useful villager, number 1. I'm sure you saw it coming. Of course, the Librarian is the best villager in Minecraft, and whatever. Anyway, the reason for that is this. If I take this guy right here and I get him some paper, right? Which, you know, it's just 3 sugarcane. Not terrible. Wait for him to level up once. The next freaking trade is a random enchantment book. Protection 3. Dude, remember those sticks that we said that you could trade for emeralds? You now can get protection 3 on all of your sets of armor, which is more than enough for a hardcore let's play. That is incredible. But we're not done. Let's say you want to keep going. Okay, well, it's taken me a long freaking time. I had to get yet another villager. Obviously, this is a gamble, but anyway, they can have all these great books. I was trying to get one that had something like absolutely crazy, but I did find a Silk Touch. Now, Silk Touch is obviously pretty good, but the protection 3 that we found earlier, you're probably not going to beat it. But the fact that you can just reset these over and over until you get the enchantments that you want is obviously really solid, which is why the Librarian is the best villager class in Minecraft. Guys, I can't take this anymore. If I hear one more, I'm gonna freaking crash out. I love you guys so much. I'll see you guys in the next video. You guys have a great day. See you guys next time. Goodbye.